For a lot of people, myself included, playing Tarkov these days has been much more than just the going-ons that we're so accustomed to. It isn't so much about questing, grinding to level up, getting max traders, or fighting other players with endgame gear. For some, those elements are still fresh and new enough that they feel rewarding and inviting to fully engage with and commit to, however long it takes to reach your own personal goals. But for many others, the current gameplay loop, even under the guise of a hardcore wipe, is proving to be somewhat of a slog, which is why so many of us hope and pray that the 1.0 version of this game will be different enough that it feels new. In the meantime, I've recently been spending some time during my raids just appreciating the game for what it is. Despite all the problems, the drama, the BS, and baggage that is associated with EFT, I've tried to put all that to the side and just find the fun that this game can still provide even after thousands of hours. And there is still a surprising number of things that I still enjoy and appreciate in this game, which is something I encourage everyone else to also try. Just find the fun in this game, even if there isn't much left to enjoy. As much as we all love to run around with max level traders and the ability to kit up our PMC with whatever guns and armors we want, there's always been a unique charm to the early game that so many players truly enjoy. It's a time where the playing field is leveled once more, and everybody, for the most part, is on equal footing. Granted, the Unheard Edition has shifted that balance somewhat, but the scrappy fights of the first couple of days is such an iconic part of Tarkov. If you could capture that moment, put it into a bottle, and preserve that experience for as long as possible, most players would enjoy that version of the game. And while this current hardcore wipe has tried to do just that, there were some choices made that don't entirely reflect that mentality. To be fair, however, the goal of extending the early game has certainly been achieved. It's only now that most traders can be leveled up to their second and third loyalty levels. When it comes to the early game, you need to have your wits about you. Every raid matters so much as it sets up the potential for how the rest of your wipe is going to go. Sure, you can always fix it later if you have a rough start, but you need to be creative with how you approach so many different circumstances. You need to ask yourself questions. Is this fight worth it? Do I try to get this other quest done even though it's out of the way? It's a shame the game doesn't offer more solutions with unique or interesting barters at the start. A heavier emphasis on working with the traders through their barter system would at least feel as though the items you are collecting can have an extra purpose if the hideout isn't in the cards, or you just have extras of something you no longer need. Again, we're talking more within the context of a traditional wipe. This hardcore experience has been unique and provided its own fair share of challenges, but normally we're just so used to the rat race that is leveling up and getting more gear on the dealers. Which is what makes the early game so interesting. It's so much more about use what you have or what you find. Items have so much more value that it becomes a risk to take them in with you. Scopes and high tier armors can carry you through the early game if you're lucky enough to find and use one. There's a reason why so many always come back and say the early game has some of the best moments in EFT. Because it's about what you use and what you have access to, and not just whether or not you have it available. And moments in Tarkov are not uncommon. They can pretty much happen at any point. It's hard to describe exactly what I mean when I refer to moments in this game. And if I had to give a rough definition, it would be something along the lines of an event, opportunity, or experience that creates somewhat of a core memory for the player once it happens, and they want to share that with other people. It can be wiping an entire lobby of players, finally completing a quest you were stuck on, working with a PMC or scav you stumbled across during a raid, or simply stopping and appreciating the scenery and environment that is always front and center. Even to this day, I still find opportunities to just appreciate the game for what it is, despite the noise and everything else negative around it. Because after thousands of hours, it might be a bit dull, but I certainly don't hate the game. The core 30-second gameplay loop still outclasses so many others, even if many of the other gameplay experiences haven't seen a dramatic change until this hardcore wipe. I mean, I have a folder of about 500 plus screenshots of different scenes and environments in this game, from sunshine to rain, daylight to nighttime. It's something I have always enjoyed doing, taking screenshots of the world because the game can be so pretty under the right circumstances. Finding the fun in EFT can be hard after so much investment, and yet people are still able to find their own versions of fun with this game. It's one of the reasons I still praise Tarkov for allowing that level of creative freedom in so many different areas of itself. I have always been an advocate of going against the grain when it comes to building weapons and kits. The level of creativity you can have when building weapons in this game still has not been replicated by any other shooter out there. Sure, it's easy to always just use the best option available to you, whatever that might be, especially if you're someone who enjoys fighting other players. Giving yourself the best statistical advantage possible is probably important to you. But going against the grain and just using stuff that you either have laying around or going out of your way to avoid the best has always been important to me. The hope is that with 1.0 you won't always have the best at your disposal or easily accessible, so getting used to using what you have is becoming more important as time goes on. That applies to weapons as well. For each weapon, there's always been an emphasis on best in slot, but with thousands of attachments in the game, it's a shame to not take advantage of them every now and again. With weapons such as the M4 or pretty much any of the AKs, variety is what makes these platforms so compelling. I wish every weapon had the same level of attachment variety and modularity as these, but that's just not in the cards, sadly. You can create some really cool stuff and see how it competes, and to me, that has been some of the most fun I've had with the game in the last few years. This game is all about progression, leveling up your PMC, your reputation with the traders, hell, even leveling up your scab if you feel so inclined. And while the process of working through the game hasn't changed much up until this hardcore wipe, many players still find the process of progression palatable even after all of these years. Completing quests feels good, leveling up still feels good. Working towards the endgame quests and getting things like Lightkeeper unlocked feels especially good when you do it for the first time. Anyone who has played this game hits a point early on where you just get sucked into the process, and many simply enjoy working through the game at their own pace. It can still be fun years later, even when you've done the tasks dozens of times. It's not about being first, it's not about having an edge over other players, it's about the journey, not so much the destination, and that can still be fun no matter how many times you might have completed it. And for those who have gotten burned out by the monotony of the game, there are plenty of ways to spice things up and keep the game fun and interesting. For years, many partook in personal hardcore challenges, adding much more complexity and restrictions across the game, making it even more grueling than it can already be. It's certainly not for everyone, and this wipe has funnily enough proven that to many. But for those who were up to the challenge, it reminds you why this game is so fun at times. It makes you appreciate when you're able to just play normally and how your life matters way more than you think it does. Losing a quest item when you have been stuck for days or weeks always sucks, especially in hardcore. Losing not only that item, but that entire kit you were wearing while getting it, with no chance of returning it to you, just sucks that much more. Tarkov has been around for a long time. Many have been playing since almost the beginning, and after so many years, the game can start to lose some steam. And in those circumstances, reflecting on why Tarkov is a fun game, even if it was never meant to be fun, is important in reminding yourself why you started playing this game in the first place. It's weird, obtuse, goes against pretty much every conventional rule and standard set by the first-person shooter genre, and has one of the most satisfying reward curves to this day for a modern game, despite all the problems with it. The direction going all over the place, the lack of a clear vision for a few years now, there is still plenty of fun and enjoyment to be had with EFT, you just have to find your own version of it. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. Let me know down in the comment section below your thoughts on what makes this game fun, where you find your enjoyment with EFT, and be sure to subscribe for more videos about problem solving the midlife crisis equivalent of playing a single video game for far too long. I hope to see you in future ones.